Hi, my name is King Prime, and I'm going to tell you my collecting story. It all started when I was maybe around 3 or 4, and my dad had this bucket of cars, like Hot Wheels cars, but like higher end, with like real rubber wheels and stuff. He had a bin of them. Every day or every morning, I would go down to where he would sleep, which was technically the basement with my mom, but when they would go up to work, I would go down there without trying to be noticed, and I would pick a car out and try to run up the stairs to my room. Sometimes I would get caught, and they would say you have to have a good day to earn the car. So I would earn the car and go to daycare, get my car, come back, and I play with it. So then one day, I noticed these big red boxes that said Transformers Robots in Disguise Supreme Class Leader Class, I don't know. Supreme Class Leader Class Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus. Ever since that day I saw those, I tried so hard. Every time tried so hard. I never could reach it because I was a small baby, clearly. I would try, and my dad took notice. He took notice because the boxes would move on and then because I actually hit him one time. I actually jumped and tried to knock one over one time. It didn't really work, but my dad took notice. He said, "You like those things, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really want them." So we said, maybe I'll give them to you one day. So maybe a year goes by. Um, it's my 4th birthday. He takes up those 2 boxes up from the basement. And he says, "Happy birthday." And we take the whole day playing with those things. We combine them into Armada Prime. We launch the missiles. We have like fights and stuff. And then it really kicked in. After that, every time my parents would go to the store or something like that, I would come along to check out these new toys or these toys called Transformers to see if they had any. And yes, I spoiled kid, obviously, if I have this big ass collection. Yes, sometimes I would go there and I would get a Transformer. Um, my dad wouldn't really allow me to get the really cool ones like these guys. Like, well, this was back when like Universe and classics were a thing. This was back then. I would never get those. I would always have to go to the play school rescue bots, and those things were cool. I loved them. I absolutely loved those rescue bots. Chase, Bumblebee were definitely my biggest favorites. Optimus was definitely cool. And then eventually, my dad told me that this new show about Transformers was coming on TV called Transformers Prime. But unfortunately, we didn't get to watch it because at the time we were moving because my dad and my mom were splitting up. Yes, my parents got divorced when I was really young. We never really got to sit down and watch it. But when we did watch it, he got his own. Well, he technically moved back with us because they got back together for a little bit. We sat down, we caught up on all the series and stuff, and then by the time we knew it, it was Beast Hunters. And my dad fell in love with Beast Hunters, so did I. Every day or something like that, we go to the store looking for Transformers Prime figures. I had all of them. I had Knockout, I had Viacon, I had Bumblebee, I had Prime. Never got RC, never got Bulkhead, never got Ratchet. I had Magnus, I had Beast Hunter Wheeljack, I had Dead End, but I didn't get Dead End until later, and I'll speak about that later. But Wheeljack, Knockout, Cliff Jumper, Viacon. Never had Starscream, never had Megatron. I had the Legends, even the Legends one. I had like this Bulkhead. I had the original Magnus that turned into a tow truck. And eventually the show ended and all the toys got discontinued, which was a very sad day. Because me and my dad both loved that. I still remember to this day the commercial break of the last episode of Transformers Prime, with Bumblebee with the Star Saber about to hit Megatron, and the Megatron fires back, shoots him. He hits the Omega Lock, And commercial break, and me and my dad screamed. We were so excited, and we come back, and then he does the whole Megatron, and me and my dad, like, we had snacks out, and we like threw them like Super Bowl commercials where they throw their snacks. That was literally it. And then after that, I turned 6 years old, and my dad let me watch the 1986 movie for my 6th birthday. I watched it. I loved Unicron. Rodimus Prime became like one of my favorite Transformers ever. I never got a Rodimus Prime. I always had to get Hot Rod because I never could get a Rodimus because none good ones were out at the time. And eventually, my behavior, some of you may know this, but I'm autistic, and I had some behavior issues. But my dad and my mom figured out a solution to that. If I had a good day, at the end of the week, they'd take me to the store in my local mall called Toy Vault. And I would go there and I'd pick out Transformers. I'd be getting Leader Class Sentinel Prime, the Alternator Sunstreaker, Transformers RID Prowl, G1 Vortex. I don't know what the Combaticon for the helicopter was called in G1. I think it was Vortex. Vortex, and then eventually, my mom made a deal with me. If I had 30 days of just straight behavior, she would get me Unicron. So when I was at the 25th day, she called Toy Vault and said, "Hey, you have Unicron." They said, "No, we have to order from a different location." And I made it. I got my Unicron. It was a blast. Me and my dad spent like all night. We didn't even fall asleep. We spent all night with that Unicron. We had a blast. And then one day, my parents finally did split up. Not gonna go into detail, but Toy Vault is also how I got Dead End. And then a couple years later, my mom was still doing the system because behavior, and I got animated Lockdown. I got Energon Rodimus. I did eventually get a Rodimus, but it was the Energon one. I got animated Lockdown. And eventually, I became like 9 or 10, and I just grew out of Transformers. I was done. I moved on to different stuff. I was a Five Nights at Freddy kid for a long time. And then I went to Godzilla for a long time. And then eventually, one day I found my whole big bin of old Transformers. And I'm ready to sell them. And I'm showing them off on TikTok. It's like, "Hey, anybody want to buy these?" And then this dude comes up and says, "Hey, some of those are really cool. Why do you want to sell them?" I said, "Well, I lost the interest." So, and he tells me how these new stuff are coming out. War for Cybertron, Legacy, Studio Series, and all that crazy crap. That comes out. And I'm just bent over knees. But the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get my first ones back. My RID Magnus and my RID Optimus Prime. So, that was my first priority. Because my originals got absolutely destroyed. I got them when I was really young. Some of you collectors say, "Why did your dad give us up such collector's items? It was such a small child." Whatever. I had fun with them. We played with those things. But they got destroyed. Eventually, I came across a Magnus on eBay for $35. Missing 2 tires, and it was missing the gun. But I didn't care because I probably had still spare parts. So I bought the Magnus, and I still have it to this day. And either a year or possibly a few months go by, and I wanted Prime back. I wanted RID Prime back the most. I made a deal with my mom. I found one on this website called Macari for $89 and made a deal with my mom. I will pay her back with my allowance, and I will pay it off. I eventually got my RID Prime. And just this year, I got a Transformer iteration of a character that I've wanted for a long time. I finally got my hands on Jetfire. I got my first ever big combiner this year. 2023 was a huge freaking year for Transformers for me. I got my combiner. I got my Planet X Vulcan. Unfortunately, rest in peace. The thing broke. I got Lego Optimus Prime. I got all these figures I was so excited about. And now, it's right here. I'm still really obsessed with them. And next month, I'm going to TFCon. So if you want to come by and meet me, go for it. I'll be at TFCon. And I will see you guys there if you want. But, I'm doing Transformers animated now. I have a whole pretty much shelf dedicated to animated. I have some really rare Studio Series figures. I still have one Survivor. No, yeah, two Survivors in my original collection. My Beast Hunter Optimus Prime is at my dad's because I gave it to him because he loved that thing. I don't really want it. But my only Survivor that I kept was my Thrilling 30 Whirl. As much as people want that, I will never give it up because it's my last Survivor of the original collection. So I thought I'd tell you my collecting story today. I was kind of bored. But also back then, I didn't even know what Beast Wars was until one day I went to a library and saw Transformer DVDs, bought it, and I remember this purple Megatron years ago. This purple dinosaur Megatron. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But then when I actually get into Transformers, I'm like, Beast Wars? Oh, what the frick is Beast Wars? Ew. And then, eventually, I grew into it. Because I got myself a Primal, and I got myself a Megatron. These two are both smashing figures, by the way. Highly recommend. 2023, 2022 were the biggest years for me, right now. But yeah. This is my journey, and it's still going, and I don't think it will ever end.